Hello, welcome to the first episode of the David Plan. And for those that don't know, or maybe you're just being introduced to this for the first time, the David Plan is going to be a website where we kind of address a lot of issues, hopefully in ways that other people aren't addressing them. But one of the big ones, we really do want to focus on men and men being involved in the Christian lifestyle. A lot has been written about men not being involved in church or in leadership as much as they used to be. But we really do want to focus on not being involved in church. Okay, because we need to be there, men need to be there, women need to be there, everybody needs to be there. But we really need to focus on that men need to be involved in church, they need to be practicing their faith. But we want to do more, and we're going to have guests on and some help here. We want to do more when we do the David Plan than just say you need to be. We kind of need to explain why you need to be there. We need to be able to say, hey, this is why men don't go to church. This is why men don't get involved in things. And there's a variety of reasons, and we're going to really work on them. We're going to talk. And as a matter of fact, when John Longmire and I have our first conversation in a week or so, that's really going to be what we tackle, why men don't get involved in church anymore. It's not that they don't believe. It's not that they don't have a relationship with Christ. It's not that they're against it. It's just they're not satisfied when they're gone. So when we discuss Christian aspects and we discuss things like that, I want us to be realistic. And I mean, it might make some people mad. There might be people that don't want us to talk about that. We're one big happy family and everything's going great. But a church membership in the last 20 years has just absolutely bottomed out. Yeah, I know it's not popular to say. I know people want to just, put on a happy face. But we're not. We're not going to here. We're going to talk about some tough edging things. And one of the things I want to do is be able to share the screen with you today and talk about the fact that the David Plan website is already up. And I want you to go there. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can go there. But speaking of John Longmire, there's the Royal Priesthood by John Longmire, just kind of discussing some things that are important, like lay people, and that's what I am. I want to clarify that. I'm Joseph St. John. I'm a lay person. Okay. And a lay person has responsibilities too. Okay. And that's very important because we tend to put our pastor, our priest, our leader on a pedestal, and then we really drive it home that they're supposed to do everything, which is impossible. And I think the royal priesthood discussed that as well. The Jonah story, conundrum, is very important because once again, when we discuss Jonah, and we're going to discuss this, a lot of times what we're taught about a book or about a character that's biblical, a person that's biblical, and then you read the 4 chapters of Jonah, it's like, look, there's a little more to this story than the belly and, being in the belly of the whale. Okay. It's not even a whale, but we won't go there. We'll touch that later. But look at that and you will see, and look at that story, you'll see. And then a story I think is very important, which is Stepping Stones by Deneen Azalino. And Deneen is a relative, so if I mispronounced that last name, I apologize. I think I got it close. And the passing of her son, that. And any parent that has ever lost a child, or someone who's lost a child or a family member, you really need to read this story. It's an amazing story of just recovery and dealing with it. Because once again, any of us that have lost a family member, especially when they're younger in the prime of their life, like Matt was, that's not something you get over in 5 minutes. And we have this strange tendency to want that. We want resolve in 5 minutes, and that doesn't exist. And I think when people talk about that, like Deneen does when she writes, and we'll have her on later and she can discuss it all, is the worst thing you can do is pretend that you're not suffering. The worst thing you can do is pretend this is not happening. God is here to help us. We can turn our lives over to Jesus. We can talk about all the things that we can do, but none of that takes root until you admit that you're suffering. And I don't know if we always do a good job of that in America because we're put on a happy face kind of people. And I don't think if there's anything realistic there. And Father Mike Pacella's book, From Valor to Virtue, the Moral Development of the Brave. Look, we got to have moral development. Okay, there is virtue and we have to have it. And Father Mike's book is outstanding. You can go to the website, there'll be a link in there. We'll talk about it. And we are going to deal with all of this stuff, the myth of the good person. Okay, and then if you're very interested in what I want from the David plan, once again, just go to this story. So, I'm gonna put that in there and we'll be all there and we're gonna get it. But again, this is going to be focused on Christ-centered biblical teaching and try to be as realistic as we can be. Because again, I'm not a biblical scholar. I want to emphasize that. I'm a lay person. But I have took time to read the instruction manual that we call the Bible, okay? And I am stunned often that I'll be a place and I'm listening to a pastor or the internet is the Wild West. Let's explain that. The internet is the Wild West where there's no absolute rules. And I'll be hearing people talking and they'll be out there. And even some of these people are pastors that are on YouTube. And I'm like, look, I'm pretty sure that's not in the Bible. And I'm not even sure it's applied. Okay. I don't even know if there's an implication in there that's there, but people are throwing it out. And we want to be able to go, hey, this is what's being said. There's 2,000 years of Christian church history. What was the overall view of this? Do you get to change it all because some guy, gal, whoever you're following decides that they're an expert? Somebody makes them an expert and they put a little blessing on them and they can undo 2,000 years of Christian church history? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think it works like that. That's me. I'm a lay person, but that's how I feel. So starting next time, I think we're going to have John on there if we can work it in our schedule. John Longmire will be here. We're going to talk about why men quit going to church. Okay. And we'll also tip on there because we want to include everybody why the last few polls have not been good for the Christian religion on how they're being viewed. Okay. Less people are identifying as Christians today as ever happened. So this is just a brief introduction of what the David plan is. And I want to end it on this. I picked David on purpose because this is an incredibly flawed man. And we'll get more into that as we go along. This is an incredibly flawed individual. Okay. But he's a man after God's own heart. He's a man that wasn't perfect, but God blessed him. And we need to focus on that because many people listening to this, many people that are going to watch this later, they're going to say, am I worthy? I can't do this. Yeah, we all are. Jesus died for us all. He sacrificed on Calvary for us all. And you're worthy. Okay. You're worthy to be saved. Now, there's a lot of things about the Christian lifestyle we're going to talk about, a lot of things about virtue that we're going to talk about. But the most important thing is, are you saved? Okay. And that's about the blood of Jesus. That's not following a bunch of rules. Now, there's some things you need to do if you're a Christian. You need to do things to get closer to God. But don't confuse that, okay, with being saved or how you are saved. You are saved by the blood of Jesus. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the serious issues and not get lost into some of the more trendy stuff. So I thank you for taking the time to be here, checking out the video. I don't know how to say it more than I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I'm here. Okay? And make no mistake about that. I am glad that I am here too. So we look forward to talking to you. And until next time, y'all guys, stay safe, take care of yourself, and trust in God.